Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Gigi and I have a very special guest here today with me.
Hey, I'm Melissa Eastwick.
Today, we're going to be doing a very special new series called #Real and Rosé. Today we're drinking Yellowtail Rosé, so buy that shit because it's good. Basically, the series is going to be all about dishing dirt and getting tipsy. I'm going to have special guests come on, so it's going to be really fun. Today we're going to be discussing the makeup union and all things about it, story times, insight, advice, and just a pro's perspective on all things makeup.
Oh my god, am I a pro?
You are a pro. So enjoy that and cheers! Alright guys, welcome back. So, we're gonna get to know our very special guest a little bit better. So, Melissa is my sister-in-law and she is my mentor. She's the reason I got into makeup artistry. So, Mimi, tell us a little bit
Well, it's a little
about you.
scary that I'm your mentor. I'm just kidding.
It's not.
But, I guess where I want to start is I started off in hair, worked in salons for a couple years and stuff like that, and then I was introduced to a couple makeup artists that I really admired. I loved their work, and I had asked one of them, you know, how did you get started in makeup? And she actually told me about MUD. I went for the full program and I loved it. I thought it was a great school. I got to learn everything from beauty makeup to character makeup to prosthetics to even molding my own prosthetics. And I thought it was a great program.
Like, hell yeah, it was. Yeah. So, what are some recent works or just some works that you're proud of that you were part of over the years?
I've done a different array of things. Most recently, I was helping out on Good Girls. I also helped out on Westworld. I've also done, you know, Netflix and Hulu shows and stuff like that, you know, because you've joined me on one of my shows.
I'm like, yeah. Like, we're gonna get into that.
Yeah, that's a whole nother
story. If you had to say your greatest achievement was in your entire makeup career, what was that one moment where you were like, oh shit?
Probably one of my proudest moments was doing the Oscars with Natalia Lafourcade. She sung the theme song to Coco with Miguel, and that was just such an experience. I'm so lucky to have met her and worked with her. She's really taken me on a lot of different journeys in my career. We did the Grammys together, the Latin Grammys, the Oscars. I've done private concerts with her. She's just an amazing artist and singer, and I'm so grateful for what I've achieved with her in my career.
I'm like, I'll sip to that girl. Hell yeah,
I know,
cheers.
Being at the Oscars was just mind-blowing. You know what I mean? You're like sitting backstage and you just can't believe that you're there, you know, with your talent, and you're, you know, watching the monitor behind stage and you're like, oh shit, like that's my work, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even the music video that she does with Miguel, I did the makeup for that, and that's actually how I ended up with her through the Grammys and the Oscars or whatever.
Well, thank you so much for shedding some light on your amazing background and achievements. We got a real pro here today, just so y'all know, okay? Now we're gonna get into union talk. We get so many different questions, so I figured
Let's dive into it.
Let's dive into that.
So my experience with the union, it did take me a really long time to get into the union. It took me a solid 10 years. And I'll say that when I went to makeup school, I had no idea that it was that hard to get into the union, because I feel like when you get into makeup school, you're like so excited and you're like, yes, I'm gonna kill this industry, and they don't even know what's coming for them and stuff like that.
True.
And meanwhile, you get out and you're like, oh shit, like I'm not getting in the union anytime soon. I mean, it does happen on rare occasions, but for most of us, it's a lot of hard work. And honestly, I'm grateful for my journey, because at first I was agitated and frustrated that I couldn't get in, but it did take me years to learn what I needed to learn to get into the union, because if I would have just left school and went straight into the union, I didn't know everything. And I literally would have embarrassed myself on set because these other union makeup artists that have been in the union for years would have laughed at me, you know what I mean? So it took me, you know, going down a path where I stumble and I fell and I made mistakes and I worked with other amazing makeup artists and watched what they did in order for me to be the best union makeup artist that I could be. So by the time I got into the union, I definitely was ready. I was a little more than ready. The day I actually got into the union, I probably shed a tear for all the pain and suffering.
For those that don't know, what is the makeup union?
The makeup union is an organization where it falls under IATSE, and there's a bunch of unions. You know, there's unions for directors, there's unions for writers, there's union for obviously hair and makeup, wardrobe, gaffers, you know, camera, everything. And it literally protects you, I would say, in the industry.
Injustices.
Right, like to make sure that you're treated well and, you know, everything goes according to plan, and it really does make a show run smoother, you know, and so people can't take advantage of you, because in this industry that can happen so easily, and you learn that on low budget projects.
If that's a goal you're working towards, well, now you have a little bit of insight on what it takes. And
yeah, and I mean, like, my path is not the same as everybody else's. Like, I wanted to get into TV and film. Some people like to do fashion and editorial. I like to do that also, but that's not where my career took me. But when you get out of school, like if you're going down that path where you want to do fashion and editorial and stuff like that, you would essentially look for an agent.
How many makeup unions are there, and what would you say the requirements are to get in?
So in the United States, there's two. There's one on the West Coast, and that's 706. And there's one on the East Coast, and that's 798. On the West Coast, you do have to do 60 union days each year for 3 years, or you can be on a show that flips, and then you'd have to get 30 days on that show. Word of advice, if you are trying to go down that route and you're trying to get into the union, when you talk to other people, you're gonna get so much misinformation, and I'll tell you from experience, your best bet, just call the union and talk to one of your union reps.
Is the union worth it?
I mean, if you're looking to get into TV and film, I feel like if that's your end goal, it's a hard road, but I do feel like it's worth it. You meet a lot of great people along the way. I've met a lot of great makeup artists. I've worked under incredible makeup artists that I've learned a lot from being in the union. So in the end, I do believe it was worth it.
Also keep in mind, like she said before, it also depends on your path. If you don't really see yourself going into TV or film, maybe, you know, an agent would be best suited for your needs.
Right, or you could do bridal, and then
Right.
you wouldn't be working towards the union or getting an agent. You essentially would be looking to start your own bridal business.
Right. Next category, the reality of this industry.
What are you talking about?
It's all
unicorns
glamorous.
and rainbows. I mean, like, I look like this every day for work.
Right. I just wake up like this.
Yeah.
What were your expectations when you got in the industry?
How can I put this? Well, I really had different expectations than what happened. When I got into makeup school, there were so many other things that I needed to learn, but the biggest thing that I learned was it is a hard road breaking into the business and becoming a successful makeup artist, because I thought I was just going to graduate school and, like, I was like, watch out world, I'm going to kill it. Like, I'm just going to, like, blaze through this, and I'm going to be the, you know, the best makeup artist. You have high hopes for yourself, and you have dreams and aspirations, you know. And I definitely had a rude awakening when I left school. I had a teacher warn me about it. I felt like they were bitter about the industry, and you know, maybe they hadn't quite made it in the industry, and that's why they were talking like that. They were telling me, like, I was going to have to drag my equipment up hills and through dirt and this, that, and other thing for shoots. And I'm like, this lady's crazy. Like, she's definitely had a bad career or whatever. She doesn't know what she's talking about, you know. And I was kind of upset. But then when I got in the industry, I was like, nah, that bitch was being real.
She was right.
You know? What you don't realize is, when you get into TV and film, or even if you're doing a photo shoot, you could be in the desert, you could be on the beach, it could be raining and cold, and you're out in the middle of the night and the wind is kicking up, and people honestly think that our job is glamorous all the time, and it's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's not how it seems, where we're like, you know, walking around in stilettos and amazing outfits, and we're full face of makeup and our hair's done, and we just like come in and we're a presence on set. Like, that's not really how it is.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
That's not how it goes.
Sometimes you do get your little glamorous moments, but you know, sometimes it's not so glamorous.
Definitely something to keep in mind. If you're walking into this industry thinking it's gonna be all unicorns and rainbows, you're sadly
it's a lot.
mistaken.
It's a lot of hard work, but I feel like that's with any career, you know, like.
Definitely.
And I always say this, like, if you shoot to the top too fast, you don't have the experiences to keep you there. You know what I mean? You have to go through tough times. You have to go through certain experiences to learn how to stay at the top. Just embrace your journey, and when you do have bad days or you do have bad times, use that as a learning lesson and embrace it instead of feeling like the victim or getting upset about it. Just keep pushing forward. That's such great advice in this industry, because sometimes you will have low points. It happens, you know?
Inevitable, honestly.
Yeah.
I remember thinking back, I'd be like, well, you know, I'd get impatient and I think, you know, well, if Vogue called you tomorrow and said, do our cover shoot, would you really be ready? Would you feel comfortable stepping onto set and fully giving it everything you got? And the truth is, like, there was so much more to learn. Like, you're always learning. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna humble myself, take a seat, and learn everything I can from all these other artists that have really gone through it, you know, and learn off of their skin. So take what you may from that. What did you expect walking into your first TV show?
Not what happened.
TV
No.
shows.
Don't know what I expected, but it was a lot of pressure. And I did my first TV show. It was not a bigger budget show, and it was tough. There was a lot of time constraints, a lot of talent, not enough time to get them done. Essentially, you get abused. You know what I mean? I feel like I was run into the ground on a couple of my first projects. It was like boot camp for a TV show because I was under so many restraints. I was under so much pressure. I had to pull things out of my ass at the last minute. I had to get things done in a time that was almost near impossible sometimes, and people don't want to take no for an answer. You cannot tell a director or a showrunner no. They want you to make it happen.
Yeah, but now you're super quick on your feet and you know what to expect.
Right, like now I don't panic.
So next up, we're going to be discussing professionality. Everything from attire, what you should be wearing on set, to makeup, which is such a big thing in this industry because your reputation is everything. And if you don't show up right and you don't show up 100%, people are going to see that and feel that. So
our industry is judgmental.
What does it mean to be professional when it comes to the makeup industry? So what exactly is being professional to you?
Do your job, stay in your lane, not be loud and obnoxious on set, know how to carry yourself, know when to speak, know when not to speak, take direction well, and try not to react too much. You know what I mean? I know sometimes when people are asking you for the impossible, you just literally want to lose your mind sometimes. And I'm not saying that I've always been cool-headed when people have approached me about things. I've had my moments, trust me, but you have to learn to keep that under control. Say you have to like have somebody extra come in to cover, just somebody new comes in and they're not respectful and they're loud and they're obnoxious. It just makes the workday so much longer for everybody else. And you make your department head look bad.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
And think about it. When you're on set for 16 plus hours, like,
trust me,
you're gonna want to pull your hair out. And
Yeah.
the last thing you want is to be around someone that's putting out really shitty energy. So, you know, make sure you're picking a positive team, you know, a team player. What is professional makeup artist attire?
I would say definitely depends on the job. If you are in the bridal industry, you should dress casual but nice. I love black everything. I think that's the best bet.
Definitely.
If you're doing TV and film, again, nice casual, not unless you are going to be out in the elements, then you definitely want to wear layers. You need to deal with the elements. Like, is it going to rain? I suggest never wearing low-cut or revealing clothes. It does not look good. As much as you like it in the outside world, just be professional.
If you're like traveling with a car, definitely have backup clothes because you never know what's gonna happen. Like my girl here had an experience, if you want to tell them, where she unfortunately fell.
Oh my God, this just recently happened. I did not have another, second pair of clothes or whatever. But this is right before COVID came into place, and I did this photo shoot at a beautiful mansion, and in the back it had an in-ground pool. The model just got done getting her hair and makeup done by me, and we're by the pool, I'm doing last looks, and I happened to like maneuver my way behind her, and I went to comb her hair, and I stepped back, and I didn't realize that the edge of the pool was right there, so I fell right into the pool, like head underneath the water and everything. It was not that hot out in LA that day. I came up, the whole, set bag was full of water. I was full of water. My phone got damaged. Thank God I had been working with those photographers and the client for a while, and I was embarrassed, but at least everybody like laughed it off. Mm-hmm. And I was freezing. So I had to call my husband, and he had to bring me fresh jeans and a new shirt and a sweatshirt and everything like that. But that was definitely one of my greater moments in my career that I will cherish forever.
But moral of the story, expect the unexpected. If you can have extra clothes with you, do that. Dress for your body type. You want to be comfortable but casual but still very professional, and know your client. If you're going on set to do a photo shoot, and like she said, it's a fashion shoot, definitely glam it up, be with the times, do something more fashionable, but keep in mind you don't want to step over the line and still be too risky with it.
You ain't dressing like you going to the club on Friday
right.
night, let's put it that way.
Like you're not the talent, they are. You're there to help or assist or do the work, so just keep that in mind. It's still a job.
Makeup choices while you're working too. Obviously when you're working in the elements, you want to make sure that you have tons of sunscreen on. If you're on set, you can do like a very natural light look, whatever your basic look is, but just keep in mind, you don't want to make your talent uncomfortable. You don't want to walk in with heavy highlight, wearing the mask. Talent's going to look at you and be like, oh shit, is this the look that I'm going to get? They're
going to be like, I don't know.
You will run into talent that could feel insecure if you're too glammed up. You may make her feel a certain type of way, and she won't want to work with you.
And that ultimately affects their performance, which is the last thing you want to do. To roll off of professionality, being timely.
Expect a long day.
Yeah, just
because I feel like be on time. I always like to get to set, like Gigi said, a little bit early, because I like to get my mind right before my talent comes in. I don't want to be late and then running in and then you're all out of sorts and you're like rushing, and then I'm a big energy person, and I feel like if I'm all worked up, my talent is going to feel that, and they're going to be sitting in my chair, and then next thing you know, they're all worked up. And just be prepared for a long day, because nobody ever likes anybody that keeps going, what time do you think we're going to wrap? What time do you think? I don't know. None of us ever know what time we're going to wrap. Like, we could guess at what time we're going to wrap, not unless you're doing an 8 and skate and you're guaranteed that you're going to leave.
Take notes.
Or when somebody asks you to do a job and gives you all the details of the job. I get it. We have lives. Some people have kids. Don't tell me you can only work from 9 to 5, because I would like to only work from 9 to 5.
Right. At that point, you just kind of killed your chances of getting rehired. So don't do that shit. Please and thank you. Next up, texting on set. Like, when I go and assist my mentor in New York, I won't take advantage of the fact that I can text. I'm there to do a job, I'm there to pay attention, and I'm there to get to know everyone, so I'm putting my phone away for the day. You don't know who's gonna look at you and be like, oh, I really liked her, until she kept pulling out her phone for the second half of the day, and that seems more important than her being here.
Oh, I totally agree with you. You gotta read the room. I mean, sometimes, like, if you're running a TV show, or, you're the key on the TV show, even if you're additionals, of course you're gonna be looking at your phone, because maybe the makeup department is in the trailer and they're texting you, because you don't always have a walkie and stuff like that, which is good. But don't abuse it. Like, don't be, scrolling through Facebook and Instagram, and then when you're partner or whoever you're working with needs you, you're like not paying attention, especially if you're supposed to be watching monitor. Like we would be even lucky to get near Video Village half the time, and no director wants to see you off to the side texting behind them if you even get that close. You know?
That just looks like you're not doing your job.
Or the AD comes over and you're in Video Village, even in Makeup Video Village, and you got your head in your phone and they're calling for you and you don't even realize it. They're gonna get agitated, you know? It doesn't take much to agitate an AD.
So definitely do not do that. Put your phone away, forget about it, unless obviously you check on it once in a while for an emergency.
Right.
Next up, talking too loud, laughing, or complaining on set. Just don't do it. Just don't do it, honestly. You never know how you're gonna come off. You might see something that's inappropriate. You might make someone feel some kind of way, and at the end of the day, that's just not the kind of energy anybody wants to deal with. Talent, or, you know, or your other fellow coworkers.
If you're having serious personal problems at home, talk to your friends after work about it. Like,
don't
bringing that energy into work and just talking about that is not good. And guess what? If you're talking about it in the makeup room, talent doesn't want to hear that either. You know?
Yeah. And the last thing you want is rumors going around all over the place, and everyone now knows your personal life because you couldn't leave it at home and keep it to yourself.
That could hurt you from getting a job.
Shadiness / taking advantage. So by that, we pretty much mean don't go on set and start handing out your business cards if you're assisting someone.
It's not good set etiquette.
Right, you're practically being shady towards someone that brought you onto this job and opportunity. You should be learning what you can from it and hoping that they'll have you on for another job.
For instance, let's say Gigi hires me, I'm assisting her, me and the client get to talking, and I'm self-promoting like, hey, I can help you out all the time or whatever. That's not cute, you know? And especially if, say, we're both on set and the client just happens for some reason, because this does happen, the client ends up calling me the next time instead of Gigi. Just out of respect, be like, hey, did you talk to Gigi? Is she not available for that day? Because I can only work if she's not available. Right. It's respect, you know? And even if, you know, I talked to Gigi and she said to me, hey, listen, I get it, it's my client, but if he likes you better, you can definitely take the job. I'd rather see the client stay happy than unhappy. That's fine. It's just respect within makeup artists. And if you get known as that makeup artist that comes to set and you're self-promoting, you're not going to get hired again. People don't like hearing about that. You just shot yourself in the foot with that person and their whole circle of makeup artists that they work for.
Yeah.
Because they're going to tell the other makeup artists, don't bring this person on set because they don't know how to handle themselves.
Yeah, and you don't know who they know. Because
exactly.
it seems like a big industry, but it's a small world because everybody knows each other. So you definitely don't want to.
Even in LA. LA is huge. We have so many makeup artists and hair artists, but guess what? We all know about each other.
Be professional, please.
Why am I the only one drinking rosé?
Girl, I'm tipsy. What do you mean? I've been sipping. And one more thing, following chain of command. Shed some light, girl. Shed some light.
So when you're working underneath somebody, again, it's respect. One time I was department heading a show and I had an assistant that was helping me out. And as I don't mind if you're assisting me and you have questions, that's fine. But save the questions for later. Only because when I'm doing talent, most of the time, the talent does not want to see or hear you. Sometimes they don't even want to see or hear me. They just want me to do their makeup. So we don't want to keep interrupting while I'm going through the process with my talent. And especially, don't question why I'm doing something my way and not your way while I'm with talent. That is never a good look. And it makes your talent question what you're doing as an artist. They're like, oh, well, that assistant just said that she should be doing this, so why isn't she doing that this way? And you never want to give your talent an insecurity.
Right, because then they're like, oh, well, you know, why aren't you using that one concealer instead of this concealer? You know, now there's doubt and insecurity, and now you could feel, I don't know, I feel like I would feel almost like attacked in a way, because I'm like, you know, my assistant should have my back, and now all of a sudden you could have waited with that question, but
later,
right now it just feels kind of like, I don't know.
It's just not a good look.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane.
Pay attention to what you're doing. A lot of the times when I'm assisting my mentor in New York and we're on a really big shoot, she'll tell me, she'll be like, make sure you're paying attention on, you know, what I'm using, how I'm using it, all that fun stuff, because she could turn around and be like, okay, do the other half of her face, or, you know, go on set and fix her concealer. I need to know what brush she was using, what product, how she was using it, how she applied it. You need to be a second set of eyes.
Just so it flows. I mean, that's a great assistant if you watch everything that your mentor or your department head or your key is doing. So when they ask you to do something, there's no questions asked. You already know because you've been paying attention to them. As many years as I've been in the industry, I'm still learning off of other makeup artists. I love watching other makeup artists and seeing their process because they may do something differently than I do and it might work better than what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So I essentially think if you pay attention, that's like the best advice. When you're working in your house or you have your own studio or you know you're doing makeup wherever, in your bathrooms for some people, when you get to set, it's a whole different ball game. You're not by yourself anymore. You're with a group of people and you have to respect them, you know? 100%. But I have a question for you that we forgot to ask you earlier in the video or whatever.
What's that?
What were your expectations the first time you came to set? What were you, when you got the call and I asked you to come to LA, be honest, you know what I mean?
100%.
Because we both know Freakish was a struggle.
It was
a hard job. So what
something.
were your expectations? What did you think set life was going to be like before you got there?
Okay, so I was so beyond excited. Like, I wasn't even nervous. I was like fresh out of school. Like, I had just graduated and Melissa was like, hey, like, we have the budget, like, come in and be the hair and makeup.
At the time we weren't
assistant.
union, so we were doing both.
Right. So I was like, oh my god, like, I was just so happy to just be there and to learn from all these pros and just be in LA. I was like, I'm not gonna turn this opportunity down. Like, I'm gonna go and see if I really like TV and film. Like, it could be a whole nother, you know, section of my life I didn't expect. But then I got there and I was like, holy shit. Like, every day it was like 20 new things that I was just like, I was not expecting this. I don't know how to do this. I'm like, oh my god, I'm getting stressed out just thinking about it. Like, holy shit. All right.
You got PTSD from that?
I really do.
Take a sip.
I know, I'm like, pause. Okay.
It's okay, don't go back to that deep dark place. Just
keep moving.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of the unknown, but it was amazing because I had a team of artists that were so amazing and so kind and so willing to teach me. All I had to do was just step up to the plate and ask questions and pay attention. For those of you that don't know, Freakish is kind of like a zombie TV show. Yeah, so like it was cool. We had like, you know, like kids with like zombie makeup walking around. Obviously that was a different department, but you know, it was cool. I got to see different aspects of this super awesome world and I'm obsessed with zombies. So, you know, obviously I was like, hell yeah, you know what I mean? But to be honest, it was also really discouraging at times. Like, I know I made a lot of mistakes and I would be so hard on myself. Oh my god, never forget. This is my favorite story ever. Melissa's like, go to set, make sure that our actor looks sweaty. Because in this scene, he got gangrene on his leg and he's like,
he's hurting.
He's deteriorating, he's sitting there sweating. Like, this is coming to an end for him. I'm running in, I'm running out. Sometimes I don't have time because they're just shooting back to back, so I'm trying to get in there as quick as I can. And the little squeezy bottle thing with glycerin, it wasn't.
I forgot about
Girl, it wasn't coming out fast enough. So I was like, okay, I gotta do something. I would just put it all, you know, like I put it all on my hand and then try to dab it on his face, but it wasn't enough. So I was like, okay, like I need to think of something. So I was like, I'm just gonna put the glycerin bottle right on top of his forehead and just squeeze it on top and pat it on, and he's gonna look oily and it's gonna be greasy and sweaty and it's gonna be great. I get out there and I squeeze the bottle of glycerin on top of his forehead and the top of the bottle pops off.
The entire bottle of glycerin falls all over his face.
And we're in literally a tiny room and there's like 50 people in that room and the camera is directly on his face. So everyone in Video Village, everyone in that room, everyone saw it happen.
But guess what? We've all had those like instances on set, and I'm like, that was a learning period for you. But you were literally thrust from 0 to 60. You wanted to get it right, But there's no way that we expected you to know everything walking on set when you've never been on set before.
Next topic, social media. Keep it PG-13 because you never know who's watching your stories or your posts. Like, you know, your name comes up on a call sheet and then next thing you know, like, all these people you don't know are like watching your story. It's probably because they're trying to creep on and see who you are.
You should definitely post as many boob and butt shots as possible. It will definitely get you your next job. For sure.
Not. Don't do that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like a lot of people just post stuff on social media and not even thinking, and people are definitely watching that. If you don't think your directors or your producers or other crew members are looking you up and looking at your social media, you are sadly mistaken, because they are, and they are watching. So even though you want to post your wild weekend from Vegas and your head in the gutter, don't do it. Or at least have, you know, a professional page, and then have a secret page, not your name, but your friends know it's you.
Definitely. So basically just think before you post, because, you know, once it's out there, and you really can't take it back. So
right. Thinking back, I worked with somebody and they called me at 5:30 in the morning, told me that they could not come to work because they were sick, but their social media said otherwise.
Oh, yeah.
They did not have a job after that.
Yeah, you're not getting rehired after that.
Be careful.
Definitely.
And, like, even be careful being on set. Like, I know people get excited that they're on set and there's, you know, celebrities there and stars and stuff like that. And you're proud of your work, you want to post it, but a lot of us sign NDAs and you can't really post in real time what you're working on. I mean, you can see if it's okay to take pictures, and if it is, post them at another time. But
definitely,
if you don't know, your best bet is to just not do it.
Mm-hmm. Think before you post and keep it classy. Like she said, do not be taking booty pics. Do not, I mean, take booty pics. Take all the booty pics in the world, but I mean,
put it on another page.
Exactly. Next up, reaching out to other artists. Using your social media as something positive. You know, it's a great platform. Reaching out to other artists and being like, hey, I love your work, like I would love to assist you. And for a year, I kept DMing her and I was like, oh my god, I love your work. If you ever need an assistant, please let me know. Like, I'll be there in a heartbeat. And one day, after like a year, she finally reached out to me and was like, I have this photo shoot for like Bustle. It's like a beauty editorial. Like, do you want to come and help? And I was like,
you're like, yes, please.
I was like, oh my god, I'm there. And now we've been working together for over a year, and we've done like different stuff with like Calvin Klein together. We've done V Magazine and worked with like different Victoria's Secret models together. So it's crazy to just know that me being persistent and reaching out to her over social media was the reason, you know, she's one of my mentors today.
Slacking on that. I was not posting my work on Instagram. It made me uncomfortable to post pictures of my work. I don't know why. I'm just that type of person. And now I realize I had to start doing that with my Instagram, because I can't tell you how many jobs kept asking me, can I see your Instagram? Can I see your Instagram? Can I see your Instagram? And then it's kind of embarrassing when they look at your Instagram and it's you and your pup, you drinking, you know, at a child's birthday party. Like,
literally.
Honestly, and things have changed since I changed the flow of my Instagram. You know, I'm even prouder of it. It's growth. You know, you never know what could come from somebody seeing your Instagram and liking your work.
100%. And keep in mind, like, when I went and I got signed by an agency, they were asking for all my social media platforms too. So like, not only Instagram, but all your social media. Like, you don't know who's gonna be creeping on your Twitter, and you know, you might be a little more liberal on Twitter because it's Twitter, but you know, just keep in mind still what you're posting, because that can always backfire, and that's obviously not what you want. So it's a great tool, but just make sure you're monitoring what you're doing. We're gonna talk about creatives, like from one creative to another, just like the world of being a creative in this time and age. Like, it's crazy because unfortunately, like, you are your worst critic, and it can be really, really rough because, you know, one day you're on top of the world and you're like looking at your work and you're like, oh my god, like, I'm so proud of myself, I'm so proud of everything I've achieved, and the next day you're just hitting rock bottom, like,
I'm the worst.
I'm the worst. That Smokey eye was shit.
You're like, how do people even hire me anymore?
Right. So you have to, I think it was important that we both touched upon the creative world, because, you know, just having each other's backs and always reminding us that, like, it's not always as big of a deal as we make it.
A lot of us,
Yeah.
I feel like as artists, like we're already super sensitive,
Yeah.
and you know, we'll go right down the rabbit hole with things. Like I said, like I was afraid to post my work because I'm just so critical of it, and I'll just keep looking at it and looking at it and looking at it. All of a sudden I've picked it apart, and now it's horrible, and how can anybody hire me, and I'm the worst makeup artist ever. And in actuality, it's like, it's not that, you know, everybody has their moments, but that's why you have a strong support group of other makeup artists to like lift you up and be like, girl, it's okay.
I still get flashbacks from Freakish. I still get flashbacks of that glycerin moment.
Oh,
It was rough, let me tell you. It's like when everything goes wrong and the world stops and you're like,
yeah, and then you're
why
like,
me?
and then you're like, they'll never hire me again, never, ever, ever. And then they call you again, and you're like, are you sure?
Right.
You know, it happens to everybody.
Shit happens, but don't be so hard on yourself because they're learning experiences. Like you're never gonna get better if you don't go through the rough moments.
And don't let it halt your day either. When it happens, just keep it moving, because obviously you're making a bigger deal in your own head than everybody else, and shit happens on set. I mean, like, you're not the first one where a gag goes wrong or a bottle breaks open, or like you drop a powder and you break it right as you're giving last looks or something like that. Shit happens. Just like keep it moving and don't let it ruin your day.
Definitely. And also don't compare yourself to other artists. This is such a big one in the creative
this
world.
is huge,
like
yeah.
like I feel like you're always gonna look at someone else's makeup like on Instagram and be like, oh my god, like this looks so good, why can't I do this? Like, you know?
Not only that, I feel like it's hard with social media because it's like literally they ram everything down your throat, and there's so much photoshopping now.
Oh my god, and that's what I'm saying. Like listen, to each their own. There's nothing wrong with, you know, photoshopping like your face if that's what you feel more comfortable doing. If you spend a little bit more time focusing on your craft, maybe you wouldn't have to spend so much time photoshopping to try to make it look good, and you'd be growing as far as your artistry.
If you're photoshopping a lot of your work and your photos, and the client hires you, that's what they're going to expect on set. And then when you get on set and you can't deliver that, you're in trouble. You know? You're not going to be able to get jobs after that.
If you're not good at you know, color matching someone's skin, and then you get on set and they're under those lights and it's like HD everything, and you've been using filters this whole time to make it look even,
Oh yeah, you're in trouble.
that's gonna be rough for you.
Especially on photo shoots, I feel like the client always wants so much more anyway, and then, you know, they want it perfect and they want it to look a certain way, so they're already expecting that photoshopped look, and when you can't even deliver it close to that, it's an uncomfortable moment.
The point is, yeah, just keep creating no matter what. Like, don't be so hard on yourself and just keep going. I think it's important to also touch upon haters, because there's so many haters in the world. Everybody's jealous of someone, let's be real. Everybody, you know, feels nowadays like they want what someone has. And I feel like especially when it comes to work, like it can be really hard.
Everybody has a different journey, and everybody goes down their own path, and you can't compare yourself to somebody else because they're not on your journey. And also a big thing to remember, Instagram versus reality. So people are posting stuff, but that doesn't mean that's their real life. You don't know what they're going through behind closed doors. You don't know if that's even real, what they're posting. So, and people like to manipulate things on their Instagram. So here you're self-doubting yourself as a makeup artist, when in actuality, that person's projecting something that's not even real, and you're trying to compare yourself to that. Honestly, worry about yourself and worry about your growth and your goals, and don't worry about other people's. They're not you. They're not on your journey. Not everybody's going to have the same journey, and it's hard even for experienced makeup artists to remember that, because you see other people and you're like, oh wow, I want to be that, or I want to be there in my career, or I want to get that. And sometimes it can really knock you down, but that's when you turn to your other makeup friends and you talk to them and they snap you back into reality.
Exactly. So that's why it's so important that in this industry you have such a good support group. You know, you gather good friends that are doing the same thing or in this creative world, and you lean on each other, really, you know.
You need it. You definitely need it in this industry. It's tough.
You know, you're only as good as your tribe, and they always have your back. You know, you make mistakes some days, and then you go to the group chat and you're like, oh my god, you'll never believe what I did today on set. And they'll be like, girl, I did that shit 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like,
it's the truth truth though.
Yeah. Talking about pricing and contracts, like it can be tough being in business and then, you know, not being sure what to charge for something, or if you're undercharging or overcharging, or you know what your rate should be. So I think also having that support group and tribe to lean on and be like, hey, what do you guys think about this? I feel like it makes it easier on you.
Definitely. I feel like sometimes as artists, we don't really appreciate ourselves as much as we should, and sometimes it's really hard when you've had a client for a long time and you've set a price with them and you're growing as an artist and your kit's becoming bigger and more expensive and you feel bad charging them more, or you don't know how much more to charge them, or you know, if you're giving yourself a raise or whatever, and your tribe will definitely help you out and they're going to boost you up and be like, hey girl, you are so worth it, you're growing as an artist, this person is paying for your experience, and if they respect you as an artist, they won't mind paying the extra money.
100%. And if they don't, then you know what, you're aligning with the clientele that you are
want.
working towards and you want. So that's more important than settling for less.
Right, and I feel like this is true too. When you first get in your career, people either want you to work for free or $50 a day or even $100 a day, and that really brackets the kind of clientele you're going to have, because my clients that are paying big bucks for me to be there on set for the day are not the same clients that are going to offer me $100, like looking back in my career. And I always say to people when they say, oh, this person's offering me X amount of dollars, you know, do you think that's right? And if it's a low ball, I'd be like, listen, I know you feel like you want to do that job, but just be ready for being treated like that on that job. Like if somebody's only going to pay you $100 to $150, which I get a lot of you are starting off in your career and you're going to have to eat shit for a little bit. I know you don't want to hear that, but that's just something that's going to happen. But as you progress in your career, getting paid $100 or $150 a day is just not going to work, because you've invested so much in your kit, you've gotten products that are more expensive, and I feel like if you decided to just take that job because you were bored that day, you're going to realize the bullshit you have to put up with for that $100 or $150 that you're getting paid. Like they just feel like they can squeeze every last inch out of you for that amount of money, whereas I feel like if you get paid more, you get respected more on set.
Right. And at the end of the day, like, I mean, we can ask, like, how much is your piece worth? You know, how much are you willing to, you know, to put up with for money? And sometimes it's just not worth it. You know what I mean? If you're sick and tired of working on low budget shit and you know that it's like hurting you, you know, emotionally or mentally, like, sometimes you just gotta draw the line and be like, I'm on to bigger and better things.
Especially if, like, and I'm not in the bridal world anymore, and this is one of the reasons, because some brides do not want to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get their makeup done that day. And guess what? That bride is already intense. You know what I mean? I find most brides are. And if she's lowballing you, the grief and aggravation that you're going to go through all that, mentally may not be worth it for you. I mean, maybe you're somebody else that has patience to go through that, so you don't mind working for a lesser amount, but I just feel like if they're going to put you through all that stress, it's got to be worth your time and money.
100%. So be conscious of that, y'all.
Yeah. And you're worth it. You are
100%.
worth the money. You are worth it, because you have to think to yourself, like, I paid for this education. I paid for my kid. I did my dues. I put my time in. You are worth it. And that's where your tribe comes in, because they lift you up and really make you feel confident about charging more money.
100%. And I actually want to read a quote that I saw on Twitter, and I was so dumbfounded because I was like, oh my god, like, this is everything. I'm putting this in all my bios. Ready? So it says, if I do a job in 5 minutes, it's because I spent 30 years learning how to do so. You owe me for the time I spent learning, not the time I spent creating. And I couldn't have said it better
I've heard that
myself.
before, and I totally agree with that.
I was like, yes, like, all right.
I'll just drink my rosé on that.
Yeah, girl, you drink that rosé. All right, so next up, we are talking about coronavirus and sanitation.
Okay, first off, why are we even having a discussion about sanitation? Like, as a makeup artist, we should not be talking about that. We should be doing it. already. Yes, coronavirus is around and we're gonna have to take extra steps, like maybe some people want you to wear a shield and stuff like that. But come on now, people, you should be cleaning your brushes, you should be sanitizing your makeup and everything like that, and look professional, look neat, have everything organized, because guess what, when your talent sits in your chair, if your stuff is dirty, they don't want you touching them with that stuff. You know what I mean?
100%. And even I feel like as you're working on a client, like sometimes you're in a rush, I get it, like your station is kind of messy, but you have to take the extra 20 seconds to reorganize yourself, because if it's just like a jumble of palettes and just hot mess, like, you know,
Hot
brushes
mess express.
literally, like, that's not a good look. So just keep that in mind, like touching base with yourself and keeping yourself on track and organized. And sanitary is important as hell. So
Now more than ever, we just have to, as artists, you know, be extremely careful of everything we do.
I also think it's important to touch up on real quick, like asking ahead of time, and even before you start, just making sure that that client or talent has no sensitivities or allergies that you know about, because I've heard too many times of stories of these agency signed, these big makeup artists that come in and put the wrong product on the talent, and they break out in hives or they have an allergic reaction, and that just does not look good. Like, how can you say you're a professional makeup artist when you're not taking the proper precautions to make sure that your client isn't being hurt?
Right.
Pretty much.
It could be something as easy as aloe. I had an actress that was allergic to aloe. That's in hand sanitizer. So you have to make sure, we had to make sure that, you know, all the hand sanitizer on set didn't have any aloe in it, because she would break out. It could be something as simple as that.
Finally, we've reached the end, but
I'm not done my drink.
girl, you better chug that down. All right, so
I'm gonna be lit in the gym later.
oh yeah, she's going to the gym after this. She's gonna be like,
Right? Either that, or I'm gonna smack myself in the forehead with a dumbbell. It'll be exciting.
Oh my god, girl. Well, good thing you know about makeup and you can cover it
Right?
up. What's up?
That'll be our next YouTube video, how to cover up a black eye at the gym.
Literally. We have industry outlook. Right now, everything is really uncertain with everything that's going on with coronavirus. It can be very, you know, rough on everybody, especially creatives that can't go out and shoot right now or can't create new content. So I thought it was important that we touch base upon that and just let everyone know, you know, it's important to be safe on set moving forward. And
I feel it is a very scary time. No one really knows, you know, we keep getting misinformation. We don't know what's going on. There's all these conspiracies and stuff like that. But in the end, we do have to be as safe as possible with this virus going around. You don't want to get anybody sick. You don't want to get your actor sick. You know, I know back in the day, we're used to, as artists, no one cares if you're sick. You're showing up to work and you're doing your job. But we can't do that anymore. If you don't feel good, like, don't come to set. You're going to get not only your talent sick, you're going to get everybody else sick. And another thing is that we all have to bond together and put our foot down and be safe at work. Like, I know the lower budget stuff will probably not be as safe as union work, just because we have the union backing us up and everybody has to fall in line and follow a protocol. But if you're on something, a low budget, don't be scared to speak up. Like, is your job and your health actually worth the couple $100s that you're going to get paid for that day? I know we all got bills and it's a struggle right now. And listen, nobody really knows what's going to happen in the future. Are we still going to get unemployment? Like, a lot of artists are scared right now. We don't know what's going to happen. Right. And I know sometimes we can get desperate to make money, but at the same time, we have to be safe. Don't be scared to say to the producer, I don't feel like this is a safe situation. I don't feel like you're protecting your crew enough. It's our right to say that, you know, especially during these times. You're not asking them to do anything that's out of the normal.
Moving on, moving forward into the future, I think it's just important to remember that we're all in this together, like all the creatives of the world, everyone right now, like this is affecting everybody's lives in the whole crazy ways.
Entertainment industry is like totally shut down right now, and you know what's going to happen. We are a big part of this world. During the quarantine, we're the ones that essentially got people through it emotionally and personally, because you're locked in your house. What else are you going to do? You're watching TV. So
Or YouTube.
Yeah, or YouTube, or you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, and that's all entertainment. That's all artists, that's all creatives, you know?
So appreciate your artists, appreciate your
support
creatives.
your local artists.
Hell yeah, pay full price. Tip.
Please. Yes.
Tip, please.
Even tip more, like, because remember that artist, or even like your waitress or waiter when you go out to a restaurant, those people have been out of work for a long time and they're not making the money that they used to make. So is it really going to hurt you to tip a little bit more? Because I know you've been saving up that $600 a week.
If you're generous, it always comes back to you. So I think it's also a law of attraction thing. So just keep in mind.
And it shows
like,
people you appreciate them.
100%. Like if someone's going out of their way to provide you with the best service, I think it's only right you show them that appreciation. That's what they do for a living. That's how they feed their kids. Like
another thing is, think about this. This is something that I thought about. Just think, we were talking about it earlier about foundations and stuff. Like a lot of us have to replace all our foundations. So we need to make a little bit more money. Like it's nice 100%. To tip your artist a little bit more, because guess what? They have to revamp their kit now, and nobody's paying for that. You know, they have to pay for that out of their own pocket. Especially like hairstylists. Like they definitely should get tipped more, because let me tell you something. I know my roots were out of control, and they were like,
can we
girl,
you
still look good though. You still look good.
I love you. Thank you guys so much for watching. We really hope that you got something from this video, and maybe you laughed at us being really silly.
There's a lot of information going on.
There really is, but we really hope you stuck with us. And if you're here at the end, thank you so much for being here.
You made it.
You really did. So cheers to you. Cheers, girl.
Cheers.
And please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button if you want to see more Real and Rose episodes talking about all different types of stuff, dishing the dirt and getting tipsy in the meantime.
Yes,
so,
please. I need more rosé and more videos.
Me too. So stay safe, and thank you guys for watching. Bye.
2 blondes, 1 brain.